Greetings, audiophiles and Mass Effect fans. Welcome to my reading of my fanfiction, After the Fall. This is a Mass Effect fanfiction, and as such, most of the characters and the universe belong to BioWare/EA Games. No copyright infringement is intended. However, the scenario and occurrences within this fanfiction are my intellectual property, so if you decide you want to share this with someone, credit me. Please. Part 20. Awakened. Shepard rolled over, propping herself on her hands to lean over Garrus. She smiled down at him. His eyes were closed, but he wasn't asleep. "I know you're faking," she chuckled, tickling his mandible. Her legs were tangled with his, both of them ensconced in the blankets. He smiled, turning to look up at her. His hand found her cheek and he cradled it. "Any regrets? Choosing me as your life mate?" "Oh, almost at once," she said, a coy smile on her face. "I mean, look at you, all scales and spikes. You could do a girl an injury." "So can you." Garrus rubbed a bruise from their boxing match, where she had avoided the rough skin plate with her fist and punched the soft tissue. "Your aim is getting better. Remind me not to fist fight with you again." She leaned down, kissing him. "We're married now. It's human tradition to fist fight with your mate regularly." "Is it?" He raised an eyebrow scale skeptically. "How else do you think marriages last? Love?" "And this," he growled, grabbing her and rolling her over under him, naked body to naked body. She felt his warm breath, the spicy odor of his skin. All the places on his body where he was rough or soft. She knew every part of him better than she knew the galaxy map. She could chart a course across his skin with the skill of a seasoned commander. She bared her teeth, knowing it only made him more excited. "Round 2, then?" she asked, her eyes bright. "If you think you're up for it," he said in a mock-genteel tone. She reached up, grabbing his jaw. She pulled him down towards her. "Am I interrupting something?" Joker's voice came over the comm. Shepard tossed the sheets off of her head, pushing herself into a sitting position. She scanned the bedroom. She spotted her underwear and grabbed it, then tugged into a nearby sports bra. "Joker! Nope, you just missed it." "Ew, Commander. I'm reporting in to let you know that the quarians are ready. They've got the geth ships in position." "Right, I'm coming to the bridge. I'll be there in 5. Shepard crossed the room and grabbed a uniform from a hanger in her closet. She wanted to look official. She found one of Garrus's uniforms and tossed it at him. It hit him squarely in the face as he was sitting up. He laughed, rearranging the bundle until he found a shirt. "Get dressed, love," she ordered him. "We're ready to give those Reapers a little sun bath." Garrus dressed hurriedly. "Wouldn't miss it." "Fill me in," Shepard barked, walking up behind Joker. She had to find a spot to stand, as Liara, Tali, Rex, Grunt, and Javik had all crammed themselves into the cockpit behind the pilot. Their eyes were fixed on his view screen, which showed a Weevil-like geth ship slowly approaching a Reaper. "It sort of looks like they're trying to mate the ships," Rex snorted gruffly. "Not what I meant by fill me in, Rex." Shepard elbowed past the chuckling Krogan to stand behind Joker. "What we're seeing here," Joker gestured to the screen, "is being mimicked throughout the system. Quarians piloting the geth ships that are moving into position." Several smaller screens appeared, confirming the pilot's words. "Have we taken all the precautions?" Shepard asked, her eyes watchful. "Only those with the resistance to indoctrination are allowed to pilot the ships," Tali affirmed. She folded her arms across her narrow chest. Shepard could almost feel the young quarian's unease. "Of course, they might use the same defense mechanism they used on us. That noise..." Grunt winced at the memory. "They might, but we have to try something. Those quarians have a lot of sand." Tali seemed to appreciate the Krogan youth's assessment of her people. "That they do, Grunt." "Waiting on you, Commander." Joker flicked a switch and Shepard leaned forward. "All ships, move in when ready. Good luck." The entire bridge fell silent. They watched as the quarians moved in, deploying the geth ship's grappling legs, latching like limpets onto the motionless Reapers. There was a moment's pause, then the geth engines fired and the Reaper began to move. Joker maneuvered the Normandy to follow the nearest Reaper-geth pair. Somewhere on the bridge, something beeped and everyone jumped. Shepard hadn't realized that she'd been holding her breath. Her body was taut, as though she were about to charge into a firefight. Her mind was surprisingly clear. She was grateful. For once, no images of the dead flashed before her eyes. The going was slow, but the little geth ship began picking up speed as it pushed the Reaper. "They have to hit the sun's gravity just right." Tally spoke in a whisper of what they already knew. No one hushed the young quarian. "Too high and the orbit will not decay. The Reapers will simply circle the sun. Their armor is too strong for them to be damaged for some time. Too low, and the geth thrusters will not be able to get them clear fast enough." Shepard was in awe of the quarian people, ever resourceful and consistently brave. They were the ones who were saving the galaxy. She just gave the orders. She stopped herself from gnawing the inside of her cheek. "Not this time. Nothing is going to go wrong this time. This is Captain Valtin of the Geth Vessel 224. We are approaching Sol, preparing to release grapplers," reported a quarian voice over the comm. Shepard felt a bead of sweat trickle down past her eye. The Normandy continued to follow their own geth ship. She could see Sol looming brightly in the distance. "Wait, what was that?" Joker said. Then all hell broke loose. Ahead of the Normandy, the Reaper sprang into life. Limbs flailed and the beam weapon fired, slicing the geth ship which had been towing it in two. Yelling, explosions, static came over the comm. Shepard's own crew were yelling. Shepard reached forward and grasped Joker's shoulder. "Come about! Get us clear!" she shouted in his ear. To Joker's credit, his reaction was faster than she'd expected with all the chaos. The Normandy swung about so quickly she could feel the roll of the bulkheads under her feet. "Battle stations!" she screamed. Alert sounded. Her team rushed away. Garrus heading for weapons control, taking over for an alarmed-looking human gunnery chief. Tally claimed an engineering station, while everyone else got out of the way. Shepard remained behind Joker. The Reaper had turned, and the Normandy had its full attention. A nearby human battlecruiser, the California, was moving in to help, and Joker tried his best to pilot them near enough for the vessel to take shots at the Reaper. The Reaper fired, and Joker managed to dodge. Shepard balanced like a sea captain on a rolling deck as she felt her beloved ship buck and sway with each motion. Inertial dampeners could only handle so much. The Reaper fired again. Boom! Crash! Sparks! Smoke! Someone was screaming. Was she on Earth? Were they charging the Citadel beam? She had to get to her feet. Anderson needed her. There was a loud ringing in her ears, but over it she could make out the sounds of her people's distress. Something warm ran down her face and into her mouth. It tasted like metal. No, not Earth. Not dirt beneath her. The Normandy. She pushed herself up and swayed. Dizzy. Unsteadiness plus the ringing. Ruptured eardrum. She clamped a hand over her right ear, then brought it back. Blood. Dark red and fresh. Focus. God, it was difficult with all this smoke. Distantly she heard the sound of a fire extinguisher. People were shouting. "Someone take control of the helm! We're dead in the water! Transferring helm control to Station 2! Can anyone see anything up there? Joker! Commander!" "Jeff?" The word was more of a cough as it sprang from Shepard's lips. She forced herself to stand. The cockpit was engulfed in smoke and flames. Behind her the crew was moving debris to find them. She staggered, reaching forward towards Joker's seat. She felt the ship buck again and wondered if they were fighting or retreating. Her hand fumbled around the chair. Joker was sagging, limp in his seat. She reached down, fingertips groping clumsily for his neck. There, his pulse seemed strong. "Jeff!" she shouted. He coughed, then gasped. "Shepard! Ah! God! Help me!" "I'm right here, Jeff," she said, lowering herself to her knees as another wave of dizziness hit. "My leg!" His breathing was fast and short. "I'm right here. What?" She spotted his leg through the smoke. Part of the control console had broken off and pinned his limb. The bone was likely shattered. Behind her, she heard the crew breaking through. Traynor reached them first, and Shepard felt a breathing mask being snapped over her face. She little noticed. Moments later, Joker had one too. "Easy!" Shepard yelled. "His leg is pinned." "Are you hurt?" Garrus was holding Shepard's shoulders. He tried to pull her away. "The side of your head's bleeding." "I'm fine," Shepard managed to wave him off. Adrenaline was a powerful thing. She barely felt any pain yet, though she knew she would later. She'd damaged eardrums before. It was always quite excruciating. "The Reaper?" she asked to whoever was nearest. The California intercepted. Between us, we're keeping that thing busy, Garrus growled. Get back to the guns, Shepard instructed. We need our best marksmen. I'm not leaving. Garrus! She barked, her voice barely muffled by the breathing mask. Get back there! We could all die. We need you. The Turian said nothing more, simply nodded, squeezed her shoulder, and departed. Joker screamed. The crew had gotten tools and was lifting the fallen metal from the pilot's leg. Shepard reached down and pressed Joker's head against her shoulder. He screamed again into her shirt. Then the hunk of metal was lifted free, and she carefully pulled him out. For a moment his hands tangled tightly in the fabric of her uniform, then he passed out. A red spray sprang up from his mutilated leg. Oh, shit! Artery! Shepard yelled. Traynor pounced, jamming her hand into the wound to stop the flow. I think I have my finger on the bleeder. I've never done this before, only seen it in vids. Don't move your hand, Shepard commanded. Unsteady as she was, she still helped her people lift Joker onto the portable stretcher, which was kept on the bridge for emergencies. She leaned heavily on it as they rushed towards the lift. One hand cradled Joker's jaw, keeping her fingers firmly on his pulse. Come on, Jeff. I've got you. Hold on, she breathed, barely loud enough for him to have heard had he been awake. Traynor straddled Joker's limp form, her hand still clamped over the deep leg wound, staunching the blood. The medbay was already bursting with action. It hadn't only been the bridge that saw damage. Chakwas looked up from a patient she was tending, and her eyes grew huge. Jeff? He's nicked an artery, Shepard shouted. Traynor's got her finger on it. Move, I've got him. Cadell appeared, gloved hands at the ready to take over for Traynor. Shepard wanted to shout, Not him! You do not get to lay a hand on my brother, you Cerberus bastard! Instead, she gave Traynor a nod, and Cadell replaced her hand with his. Biobed 5, Chakwas shouted, rushing over. What happened? Control panel fell, Shepard said, her voice tight. Right, I need to patch up that bleeder. Stone, get me a Medigel and a kit. Shepard, Traynor, I have it under control. Get back to the bridge, the doctor said, her tone commanding. Shepard shook her head. I have to stay. You're in command of the bloody Normandy. Get up there in command, growled Chakwas, already working on Joker's legs. Suddenly Joker's eyes flew open. Ah! He half gasped, half screamed. Shepard grabbed his hand and moved so her face hovered over his. Jeff, I'm right here. You have to be still. Shit, sedate him and let's get some pain medication over here, Chakwas shouted. Stone made a capable nurse, rushing in to do as he was told. Joker's eyelids fluttered unevenly. He gave a little whimper. Shh, steady, Shepard soothed, touching his cheek with her free hand. Then his blue eyes rolled back, and he was out. All right, he's going to be fine. Get out of here, Chakwas snapped. Shepard backed away, ignoring the dizziness that still clawed at her. She exited the medbay, bumping into Traynor. The young woman was standing, staring at her hands as though they were foreign objects at the ends of her arms. They were coated in Joker's blood. Traynor sagged against Shepard, and the two collapsed together, though mostly it was due to Shepard's unsteadiness. Whoa, she gasped. Traynor struggled to get off of her commander. Then she dashed to a nearby trash bin and was violently sick into it. Shepard achieved her feet and crossed to the woman. She gently rubbed Traynor's back. It's all right. It's good. You let it all out. Then we get back to work. Traynor heaved a few more times, then stopped. She wiped her mouth with the back of her hand, leaving a bloody streak across her lips. Shepard put her arm around Traynor's shoulders, partially to hold herself upright. I'm all right, the young woman said shakily. Good, because we have work to do, Shepard said, steering them towards the lift. The bridge was loud and chaotic. Crewmen rushed to various stations, shouting to one another. Repair teams were already working on the cockpit, trying to get it operational again. Status! Shepard shouted as she stepped out of the lift, her back straight and her shoulders squared. Moments before, she had been barely able to hold herself upright. Now she was a tower of strength. We took a glancing blow, the one that knocked out the cockpit. Force fields have activated. We did lose some external hull plating on our starboard side. No structural damage. The crewman hesitated. Ma'am, is Joker? He'll be all right, Shepard assured the man. She knew the bridge crew was close with the pilot. The crewman smiled wanly, nodded, and turned to get back to work. Garrus, where's that Reaper? Shepard strode up behind her mate at the gunnery station. The California and the Normandy are giving that son of a bitch a run for its money, the Turian said, his voice a low, predatory growl. We're both quick, well-manned ships. Even without Joker's piloting, the Normandy can fly a circle around the Reaper. Thing is, we're not doing much damage either. What with that armor in place and all. Keep trying, Shepard said. If we retreat, the Reaper will follow us and finish one of us off. We have to beat this thing. She turned, striding across the bridge to Tali and her engineering station. Tali, any word from your people? The quarian's voice was tight and measured. She was trying to keep her emotions out of the situation. We lost most of the ones piloting the geth ships. A few got away. I'm not sure how many yet. Shepard had to grind her teeth so as not to let out a very unhelpful string of swearing. She gripped Tali's shoulder. Your people are some of the bravest I've ever seen, and I've seen more bravery than one person should have to. They knew the risks, Tali said. Shepard felt the quarian shaking under her gentle grasp. They wanted to save the galaxy, and they died trying. Greater love than this hath no man, that he lay down his life for his friends. Shepard? Tali tilted her head towards her commander. Nothing. An old quote I heard from Ashley, Shepard said, giving Tali's shoulder another squeeze, then moving away. Shepard walked to the galaxy map, letting the stars and planets wash over her. Then, with a practiced motion of her fingers, she brought up the view of their battle. She saw the Normandy and the California performing skilled maneuvers around the larger, clumsier Reaper. She could tell, though a layman perhaps could not, the Joker was not at the helm. The Normandy's movement seemed sluggish, ungraceful to her practiced eye. She hoped Joker was indeed doing all right below her in the medical bay. She watched the Reaper. It moved almost sleepily, and it tried again and again to score a clean hit on either of its attackers. "Hard to port!" Shepard shouted. "Hard to port!" the helmsman repeated, and Shepard watched the Normandy on her map swing to the left and neatly avoid a blast of the Reaper's weapon. Shepard continued to shout orders as the battle dragged on. Strangely, never once did she feel surprise or confusion at the fact that the Reapers were alive again. She supposed that part of her had always known. In fact, none of her crew showed any sign of shock at this turn of events. Had they all suspected this fight wasn't over, like a boxer retreating to his corner before the final bout? "Any news from Earth?" she asked in a lull. "No, ma'am. I'll try to reach them," said Traynor. "Commander!" A crewman stepped up behind her, breaking her mind free from the battle scene before her. "Ma'am, we can't keep this up for long. We're making no headway. We're too quick for the Reaper, but we aren't damaging it. The crew want to know if we have a plan." Shepard turned and studied the patient, trusting face of the crewman. Her heart stung. He was right, of course. They could not keep this up forever. Power was not infinite, though they could probably battle the Reaper for days if they could keep clear of its beam. I don't know," Shepard admitted. "If we break off, we might doom the Normandy or the California. I honestly don't know what to do." The crewman looked confused then. These were words that he was certainly not used to hearing from his commander. He stepped back, but seemed unwilling to return to his post. "Shepard, may I offer a suggestion?" Shepard almost jumped out of her skin. The computer had spoken, but in Edie's voice. "What the hell? Who did that?" she barked furiously. "Who reprogrammed the computer to sound like Edie?" "No one did. It is I, Edie," said the voice. "Edie?" Shepard couldn't believe her ears. "Yes, Commander. I am awake and ready for duty. However, my physical body seems to be locked in the small room in engineering. A few moments of hacking allowed me to tap into my old systems. I can take over many of the ship's functions again as soon as you give the word. The computer is not doing a satisfactory job." For a moment Shepard was speechless. She opened and closed her mouth several times. The crew was all staring, and a shot from the Reaper beam almost grazed the Normandy's hull. "Normandy, are you all right?" The California contacted them. "We're better than all right," Shepard responded. "Edie, please resume your previous duties in the ship's mainframe. Someone get on the horn to engineering and let Edie's body out. We'll figure out what the hell happened later."